chasing me and you. All these years of inspiration and love. Oh, how we live and what we say. It's Stampin' Up and it's our way.
Hi everyone, it's Pauline from Stamp with Pauline, Stampin' Stampede, and today I'm going to show you how to do a mirror card. Now the mirror card is this is what it looks like, and you take off the belly band and this is what the inside of the card looks like. So what you're going to need for the things to make this card, I won't decorate it, but I'll actually just show you how to get all of the other bits together so that you can actually create this card. So the first thing you're going to need is a base card, and it's 5.5 inches by 10.5 inches. So I'm just using the Fresh Freesia, and I'm using the Dainty Flowers designer series paper for this one. The paper that I've used for this one is the Favoured Flowers, and I really like that free designer series paper that you get with a $90 purchase. So what you're going to do with your card once you have cut it, now don't throw away the piece that you have actually cut off. So I've cut this off, so don't I cut that first, so 5.5, and I'm left with this strip. Turn it around and I've cut off the 10.5 here. Hold on to that strip. What you're going to do is cut it so that you now have it 1 inch wide. We will be trimming this ever so slightly at the end, but you'll need that for your belly band. So you're going to take the card, and what you're going to do is bring your trimmer in and you're going to score it. And to score this, what we're going to do is score it at 3.5 inches. So I'm just going to move my cutting blade out of the way. So scoring. Now you've got two options. You can zoom along to your 7 inches and score along here, or you can actually turn it round and score at the 3.5 inches here at the same time. Okay, you will need a ruler and a pencil, and what you're going to do now is take your ruler and you're going to mark down from this edge at 2 inches and put a mark on that score line. Then at the opposite score line here, do the same again. So you're going to mark that at 2 inches. So I now have a pencil mark here and here. I'm going to draw on here so you can actually see where you're going to now score. So let me just pop that out of the way. What we're going to do is score from that 2 inch mark to our point. Then you're going to take the other side and find that, just going to mark there where my score line is, and I'm going to pop that there. So see how I've matched it up with my score lines like that. And then you're going to do the same again on the opposite, and then the same on this side. All right, so you now have the score marks there ready to go. Line up your pencil line here to the scoring line. So just find it in the track, line it up, and then just score outwards. Turn it round. So again, you're finding your track, find your marks, line it up, and then bring down that score to meet that other point. And then repeating the same with the other side. So finding the mark and the point, score, and then repeating the same. It is the advantage to actually drawing on the card, and you can also rub them out. So this idea actually came from Robin Stamps, and she got it from another demonstrator. And what you're going to do now is just gently fold down and then fold across that piece. Once you're happy with that, just grab hold of your bone folder and just give that a burnish. And there you've got the first fold. Now what you need to do with this one is it's actually going to go in the opposite direction. So this time you want to bring the score line actually folding in. So it's going to now fold over on itself like that. Okay, so then you have your mirror. So you can have it like that. Okay, so that's how the card is now folding. All right, let's cut our designer series paper to match inside this as well. So the first thing you need to do is take your cutting blade, and we're cutting designer series paper. I'm going to come in at 3 1/4 inches, lining it up at the top and the bottom, and turn it round, and I'm now going to cut at 5 1/4. That's one piece, and then 5 1/4 again for a second piece. Then what you need to do is cut another strip, and I'm going to cut this at 3 1/4. So I'm going to come back in at 3 1/4 here. And then I'm going to turn, and I'm cutting it at 1 3/4. One of those, and 1 3/4. So I now have 2 of those. So I've got 2 pieces of that, and I've also got 2 pieces of that. And then I'm just going to use some basic white that I've got here, and I need a piece of basic white cut at 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. So it's exactly the same as the 2 designer series paper pieces, the larger bits. Okay, so you've got basic white, 2 of the designer series paper. They are all 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then you have 2 pieces here, which is 3 1/4 and by 1 3/4. Okay, so you're going to take that. Thing you're going to do here is you're going to cut this on an angle. So you want to cut it diagonally, but to make it line up with the card, I will show you. This was when you actually do make it. This one actually didn't turn out too bad. This one that I did ever so slightly, you'll see here, this one's really noticeable that there's a larger piece of cardstock showing here than there is at this end. So what you would normally do is you're going to cut this directly in half, but what I want to do is actually just bring it down by probably 1/8 of an inch, like a little tiny bit. Don't go right to the edge. So what I'm going to do is just tilt my cardstock. I'm going to line up this tip, but I'm actually going to bring that in so it's not as much on that side. Does that make sense? Like, I know that's a little bit probably double Dutch, but you'll get the idea. Make one first and then have a go at that. So to do this bit, what you want to do is take your basic white, trim, put a mark there, 2 inches. Directly on the opposite side, you want to do a 2-inch mark as well. Okay, what we're going to do, I'm just going to cut that off, and I'm going to take my other mark and I'm going to cut it up to there. Okay, so take my mark to the corner edge, cut that off, left with a little triangle. Repeat the other side, lining up. Okay. What you then do is exactly the same with the designer series paper, but you only want to do one angle. So what I like to do with mine is I'm going to measure for this piece. So this is the side I'm going to come down 2 inches here. But instead of going right to the edge there, I'm actually going to bring it in ever so slightly, a little bit further. So just measure that. So you've got this side, so I'm coming down 2 inches. So line that up, put a mark there, 2 inches. So I've got my mark there, and I'm not going to go, normally, well, with that card that I did before, that Robin Stamps did, was go right to here, but I'm actually just going to ever so slightly tilt that top out, and that way then, put my card around the right way, you'll actually have that little bit more of a border, and it'll be a little bit more even around all of the sides. Does that make sense? So you just can do that. Now, if you're still not happy and you feel like you still, I could probably just ever so slightly smidgy off that little piece on the side there, and that will then neaten up that to make sure that I've got a nice even border around all of the sides, okay? So with the other piece of designer series paper, I need to cut off the base part. So I'm going to come in at 2 inches on the base here. So from the bottom, and I'm going to measure up 2 inches, but I'm not going to go so now what I've done here is I have now that going there like so. Just, I haven't glued it down obviously, so we're just going to pop one there. Then this one goes here, but I wanted it that way so that my flowers are all facing the same direction, okay? So I'm going to just trim a smidge off that side. So I'm just going to line that up to there. And then that will now fit there with a nice even border on all 4 sides. And then this one goes on the top. This piece here of our basic white is our layer inside here. I'm just going to get an eraser and rub out those inside lines. And then with my other shorter triangle piece, okay, so I've got all my bits. Get that out of the way. Right, pop that out of the way. Move all that. So we're going to glue down our center pieces. So I'll just grab some liquid adhesive. Pop that into the center. And then take that piece and line it up like so. And then my other piece, and it goes onto the front. Then you take your triangle pieces, and these are going to fit into these sections here. Now you may need to ever so slightly trim, because this was my larger one that I didn't go to the point with. So you do want to actually move that around. So that now fits into there. And I've got an even edge around those. And then this piece, goes here. And then this piece I'm going to sit just there. And you can mix and match. You can do all sorts of things. So I'll just show you the finished card. What you're then going to do, I'll just move these out of the way for a sec. I'm going to rub out those lines and do all that. So you've got your finished card here like that. Grab hold of your belly band. And what I like to do is just bring that over, not pressing too tightly to start with. Bring over my second piece and then get my snips, and I'm just going to trim off the excess, and then make sure that you've got a little bit of room when you actually pull that down, so don't make it super tight, like so. And then add the adhesive, close that, and then you're ready to decorate. And I don't hold that down too tightly because I do actually want that to be able to slide on and off the card, not obviously super tight or anything. And then you start to decorate, okay? So what I have done with this one, I added just a circle die, and I fussy cut the flowers out of the designer series paper. And then for this one that we did at our recent team meeting, I made this one a sympathy card, and that's it. And then I also did this one, and this one is actually, I've done this in Australian measurements. So for this one, it's a little bit bigger. It's not as wide as a full-size Australian card, because you will need to use a 12 by 12 for that if you want it, but I've just used an A4 piece of paper, and I've just tweaked the measurements to make it into an Australian size height card. But I don't mind the American, and don't mind it doing it inches. It's a little bit smaller, it still fits in our envelopes, so it's not a problem at all. And then I've just stamped a little bumblebee in here, and I've used the beautifully happy celebration item stamp set with this one, and then just added some of the classic matte dots for this as well. So super easy. Once you get the hang of it, like I said, then you can tweak it and manipulate it around and make it your own. I've just got to maybe add some embellishments to those ones, and then that's the one I've just got to finish off there. So that is our card for yeah, give it a go. Okay, see ya.
What we do makes a difference in me and you. All these years of inspiration.